What's up, everybody, and welcome to the PlayStation Forecast episode 64. I am your host, Alex Derrickson. Welcome back. We took a small, I wouldn't say a reprieve, right? It wasn't a break. It wasn't a rest. I mean, you still put out, I put up 7.5 hours worth of videos during E3 last week, but didn't do an official PlayStation forecast. I missed it. I'm very rusty. I'm tripping over my words a lot. I feel like it's been ages since I've spoken to anyone or anything about anything. Now, in terms of what I'm like, we'll get into E3. We'll do that in a little bit. It's part of the show. Don't worry about it. I got some reader mail. Or listener mail, I guess, rather. A little bit of news to go over, and then a nice little E3 recap, how I did in my predictions, things like that. We'll get there, though, everybody. Let's just stay calm, and let's talk about what we've been playing last week. So what I've been doing is I took kind of like E3 wore me down. I know I didn't cover Nintendo and I didn't cover Ubisoft like I fully intended to do. Frankly, I sat down Tuesday night to knock out both Ubi's and Nintendo's, and there's about 16 minutes of footage of me that I've recorded watching Ubisoft's press conference and almost falling asleep because I was between... If this were my full-time gig, right? If these were my 40-hour-a-week shenanigans, no problems. Coverage, no problem at all. I'd sleep when I needed, get back into it. But when you got the 40-hour job, and you got this, and you got the child, and the whole life away from these four walls, it wears you down. I'm no spring chicken, y'all. I am 31. I am a rickety old man who grunts when he sits up, despite the fact nothing hurts. So I didn't manage to cover UB and Nintendo. I watched them. I appreciated them. I appreciated Nintendo more than I did Ubisoft. We'll get there, though, when I rank E3. But in terms of what I've been playing, you're probably wondering, Alex, what have you been playing? And I'll tell you, I'm done stalling. I played Sonic Mania finally. So that was something that just kind of fell to the wayside with me. Was it 2 years ago when that thing came out? So it was free on PlayStation Plus. I figured, okay, may as well jump in. So I jump in. I didn't really have anything else to get back into, nothing like pending really. So I was like, all right, Sonic Mania, it'll be a small install. It'll be, a quick thing, get in, whatever. Whew. I have on Sonic Mania. Now, I'm not very far. Please bear in mind. I think Sonic Mania is the best Sonic game that's been released since And Knuckles. Without any unequivocally the best Sonic game since And Knuckles. Oddly enough, also, the most like that era of Sonic back when Sonic was arguably good. I think it also in 2017, 18, 19, it kind of exposes the flaws in the Sonic formula of a 2D side scroller that focuses so much on speed and linear movement. There's verticality to it, sure, and everything, but one of the issues I've always found with Sonic that it's just kind of exacerbated, in this modern era, is for a game that's so focused on speed and a series and a game that's so focused on speed in a genre that is so small in scope in terms of what you can see and how things are revealed to you. They really don't play that well with each other. And Sonic Mania is really no different. This is a problem that was with Sonic 1. This is a problem I've had with Sonic 2. I think Sonic 3 was probably one of the closer ones to nailing it. But Sonic Mania is still guilty of the same thing. And that you go and you're picking up speed, you're picking up momentum because of physics. And then you hit a spring that launches you backwards. Or there was an instance, and this was probably merely coincidental, but I was maxing out speed, right? It's one of those when Sonic is peak Sonic, right? And you can't keep track of anything. And I slammed into a spring that I could not see, and it launched me straight into these spinning, rolling, spiked dudes. And I lost all my rings, and I couldn't really gather as many of them as I would have liked to have had back. And that was one of those things where I'm like, oh man, you can still kind of see, or they'll throw something at you real fast that doesn't work or measure within the speed that you're moving. So if you're going there is a possibility to go too fast in Sonic, specifically Sonic Mania, where you'll run into a robot, or you'll hit a spring that launches in the opposite direction or into something or whatever, and you don't get that chance to kind of prepare for it. So it brings up this sort of not a sense of urgency, but like a sense to like scale it back, slow down, like kind of like let the world come to you in a way as opposed to going straight at it. And that seems kind of counterintuitive to what Sonic is and what Sonic should be. And I can see now, like when people talk about Sonic's never been good, you see where like if you focus solely on one thing, and that's speed, right? You can't cram the levels full of obstacles and robots and everything like that, because yes, that's Sonic, but in 2019, like that's a lot to kind of have come at you. I love it though. I love it. I think, like I said, it shines a light on a very big pimple on Sonic's face, but in terms of like the fan service, in terms of the level design and the music and the sound and all that stuff, like it's such a love letter to Mario's biggest rival, both in and out of the Olympics. I think it captures everything that made Sonic magical, everything that made it fun, everything that made it so unique and so inherently 90s. Focusing on like that attitude and things like that. Now, I will anecdotally, I'll just tell you guys this. I booted it up, got the start screen, all that stuff. I was taken aback, and nostalgia. I've been watching Mad Men, and nostalgia was defined by Senor Don Draper as played by John Haim, as it was like it's a Greek term for like reopening an old wound or something along those lines, and it resonates with me because I feel that with Sonic, right, where it starts and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm a kid again, but also like I said, I'm a rickety old man, but it boots up, he's on the Sonic F, Tails is driving, or Tails is flying, going back a few steps, the save menu screen is directly Sonic 3, and I got a little teary when I saw that because I'm just like, oh my god, like this takes me back. Then you see him on the Sonic F and you're like, oh my god, this takes me back. And then you land on Angel Island, right? Yeah, a la Sonic 3. But not like this time Knuckles isn't here to knock your emeralds loose. It's all these robos and what have yous. And there's this weird like, dead VCR effect. This is the only way I can describe it. Polarizing the colors and wop wop wop. And then boom, it's Green Hill Zone, and the music starts, and I had to take 2 or 3 just single tears go down my face because it's just like, what a way to start it. What a way to establish, like, okay, this is what kind of game we are. This is what you can expect from us. We're going to drop these Easter eggs, here and there, and throughout the square saying, catch me if you can. And it, I don't know, it was like this, like, exhale as a Sonic fan, like this breath I had been holding in for this, like, such a long time to be like, just make one like you can. And the closest we had to it before was Sonic 4, and that was woo! And then I guess like Sonic Generations would have been the next one, but like the way Sonic Mania captures not only the game and the character and the sound design and all that stuff so well, it captures the spirit of the series, something that I think once Sega of Japan kind of just cannibalized their own market with Sega of America and everything, and kind of took that at the helm with like the Dreamcast releases and Forces and Colors and Horses and Colors and Heroes and all the and whatever. It lost its shine, it lost its glimmer, it lost its personality, right? Like it kind of felt like it had been like this glaze had been casted over and been like, hey, like this is what we think Sonic is. This is what we think you. And it felt like the game was being made at us and not for us as fans, right? And Sonic Mania feels like that Sonic game that's made for us as fans. I'm really excited to get back in there, spend some more time with it, get a little further in different levels and see the other Easter eggs. Now, there are a few that I already know about. Like, I won't spoil it. If you've not played it, and you're a Sonic fan, please play it. It's frustrating though, right? That like we talked months ago on here about Sega being like, yeah, no, we're still making Sonic games, but not Mania 2. We're not having that again. It's going to be more like the Sonics we like Forces and Colors. And it's like, how can you still 20 some odd years later still Sega this whole thing up? Like, and I love Sega, and like Sega's got such a great like just repertoire of games in their stable right now with, Yakuza, with Judgment coming and things like that. They have these dedicated fan bases that they just litter and love on, where they're just like, yeah, Yakuza people, we love the Yakuza fan, we love, Judgment, here's Space Channel 5 for no reason and all this stuff. But like their mascot, their old time bread and butter, right? Like they just seemingly can't avoid screwing it up. And I don't know if that's some weird ill will towards how it was developed. Like if you haven't read Console Wars by Blake J. Harris, please read Console Wars, because the development of Sonic and how like that was made and how Sega of America fought with Sega of Japan to get this thing to look how they wanted it to look is an incredible story. And I cannot recommend that book enough. But it's almost like there's this weird long-standing like bitterness of, Sega just looking like, this wasn't the game we wanted, so let's make the game we wanted. And then you get Werehogs and you get Sonic 06 and all of these other things where it's just these like swings with a capital W whiff, right? Like just embarrassing sometimes. And then Sonic Mania comes out. It's great. It's what fans wanted. It's what, old farts like me wanted. And Sega's like, that's not what we wanted, so we're not going to look at that again. Maybe we'll do a Mania 2. But right now, the Sonic games we have in development are him losing in a foot race to a fat Italian plumber. Or whatever weird, like, stupid gimmick they're going to hook on him for no reason. So that's my time with Sonic Mania. Uno momento. So then and I was talking to my friend Sean. Now, Sean, one of my longest friends of all time. If there was ever like a gun smoke for friends in terms of longest running friendship, Sean is up there. I love this kid to death. Now, I had been pining for Sean to play Spider-Man. Sean, addicted to NBA 2K. That's fine. Yeah, different strokes for different folks, and I get that. But I kept being like, Sean, play Spider-Man. You've had it since Christmas. Play Spider-Man. Now, through circumstances beyond either of our control, Sean is now finally playing Spider-Man. And he was talking to me about it, and it made me really miss Spider-Man. And, I hadn't got into there since, September when I got the Platinum. And I had let kind of the DLC stack up and all this stuff, and I was sitting here last night. And I was thinking, I want to play something. I want to play something that's kind of like comfort food, but like kind of like coming home to an old friend, right? Like, and curse you, Sean, for putting the Spider-Man bug back in me. So I boot up Spider-Man. I got this whole city that never sleeps. I got The Heist. And I was like, it's been almost a year. It's been, 9 months since I've played this game. I was getting ready to play Arkham Asylum, actually, again. And I was like, you know what? No. This is like Arkham Asylum. This will scratch that itch. Just, hop back into it. And I hope you remember how to do everything. So I get in. I spend like 5-10 minutes swinging around New York, just getting the swing controls back and, getting familiar with that before I get into any DLC or anything. Got that no problem. Got that down. Figured out how to do my little moonsaults and shooting star presses and front flips and back flips and whatnot. So I'm like, all right. Let's do the heist. I stopped one crime as well, and it was very sloppy and very bad. Now, also, it was Father's Day yesterday, and I was not of sound state in mind. I will just put it that way. I had some drinks and some steaks in me. Steak, singular. I just wanted to pluralize it for dramatization. But I was like, let me do the heist. Let me check this out. So I get in, and whoo, baby, I suck at Spider-Man again. It is, oh man, like part of me wants to just like, okay, start a new game, get the combat flow back, and then jump back into your old save with the DLC. And I'm genuinely considering that because I'd say start New Game Plus, right? But like, I kind of need like those level 1 guys, those level 2, 3 guys. I kind of need to clear some warehouses out. Clear up some gang holds because Jesus, I'm so bad. I'm so bad at it all of a sudden. Like, it's so rusty. And like I remember like when I played this game, I had such a great flow and rhythm and like cadence to my movements, and mixing up the actual like physical attacks with the web attacks and like the swinging attacks and web takedowns and perches and stuff like that. And I have none of that anymore. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is going to be the best avenue, best course of action for me to do to kind of get like to grease the wheels a little bit, and do a nice little oil change and refresh and get back into this game and get back to where I was. And I think the best course of action for me right now is either New Game Plus or just starting a new save and kind of just getting my bearings back about me. I'm like 70-30 on starting the new save, just putting like 1.5 hours in, just getting the feeling back to the combat. But this game's still gorgeous as ever. And that's me talking about playing it on a launch PS4 on a 720p TV. It still stands out as just this remarkable graphical achievement. I'm really excited to get back more into the DLC, but I kept failing at this one mission over and over and over and over and over again, and I got frustrated. I turned the system off. I went to bed. I'm hoping I'm going to get back into it here, in a couple days and feel a little bit more refreshed about it, without the malaise and the lethargy, Going forward, I kind of want to I have Katana Zero on PC because I don't know who I am anymore. I really do want to do that. I want to get more into Ape Out / finish Ape Out. I need to finish Blood and Truth. I've got stuff on my plate, and I want to get those cleared off. We're kind of hitting this lull time post E3. I want to finish. I want to really, really, really finish Untitled God of War project before the end of the month. A lot of stuff on the plate. I'm trying to keep myself busy as much as I can, but that kind of catches you up to speed. So let's do the rigmarole. We'll do the housekeeping, and we'll get into the news. Because I don't know if you know this or not, y'all, but this is the PlayStation Forecast, and it does come to you each and every Tuesday at youtube.com/pressxtoalex and podcast services around the globe. And remember, if you want to get the show earlier than Tuesday, you can. And if you want to know how early, I'll tell you. You can get it live every Monday at 7:30 p.m.-ish at twitch.tv/pressxtoalex, where I stream the show live. You can see how the sausage gets made. You can see me make any mistakes and flubs before we start recording. You can probably even see me forget to press record sometimes, like I did at the Square Enix conference, and I had to do it twice. Remember, if you miss it live, never you mind. You can always catch it on Tuesday on youtube.com/pressxtoalex or the podcast provider of your choice. If you're not subscribed, what the hell? Just search on your podcast service for the PlayStation Forecast. You'll find it. You'll see the logo. I like it. I think it's a good color scheme. That's just me talking, though. I'm biased. Or you can subscribe at youtube.com/pressxtoalex. However you get the show in whatever form, whatever version of media, the lights flickered and that was weird. But however you ingest this show for consumption, first off, thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Secondly, if you want to help support this show, this little labor of love is mostly self-produced, or it's entirely self-produced and mostly self-funded by yours truly, because that's what self-produced and self-funded means. But if you have $12 a year you can toss, you can go to patreon.com/pressxtoalex, where you can contribute to help me upgrade the gear and things like that here at just the $1 tier. Now, some of you have chosen to do more than $1, and I fucking love you eternally. But if you have, just the $1 a month, $12 a year, you can throw it my way at patreon.com/pressxtoalex. But if you don't have that buck, it's okay. It's all right. I don't love you any less, just like I don't love the patrons anymore. I think the patrons are great. I love them dearly, but y'all help me build this community alone in a basement in Ohio, and I can never thank you enough for that. But if you want to help support what I'm doing here at a non-monetary level, you can. If you watch the show on Twitch, or if you don't follow me on Twitch, you can go to twitch.tv/pressxtoalex, click that heart button. If you go to youtube.com/pressxtoalex, click the subscribe button. If you take this in on an audio file like so many of you do, as I saw during E3, goddamn, some of the best days this show's done in almost a year and a half, by the way. Thank you so much. Subscribe, leave a review if you listen to it on iTunes. Leave a nice little 5-star review, a nice little write-up. It helps me out. It really does. It helps the show get discovered. Like, sending favorable traffic to Apple helps get the show in the rankings. I'm trying to crack all of these algorithms, and I can't do it alone unless I institute some sort of crazy click farm. And I think if I commandeer any more of the house for this, I will have to use the Patreon money to crowdfund my divorce. So let's just keep it how it is. But if you want to help support the show, you can. Just subscribe to it on the podcast service of your choice. If it's iTunes or Apple Podcasts now, I guess, RIP, leave a 5-star review, subscribe there, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, because we're very close to getting to a Twitch affiliate as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on, I know, and I just threw a lot at you, but always remember, those links can be found in the episode description on both the audio and video versions of this show. Housekeeping. The Wednesday stream is probably going to be Tuesday. So if you're listening to the show as it goes live Tuesday, keep an eye on my Twitter at twitter.com/pressxtoalex. Probably going to stream tomorrow night because Wednesday I have to literally take all of this down. I have to pack it all up, and I am taking it over state lines because that's legal. It's not liquor. It's not an open bottle of bourbon, you know. Come on. Don't call the cops, you cop. But on Thursday night on twitch.tv/pressxtoalex and it's a bit.ly link, bit.ly/48 minutes. You can watch the 48 minutes 2019 NBA Draft Live Watch Along. I'm producing the damn thing, and I can't get the title out of my mouth. So if you want to see that, I will be behind the old switchers off camera, occasionally probably on camera here and there, but helping those boys at 48 minutes make themselves a real nice live stream to watch along for the NBA draft. So if you're looking for an NBA draft watch along, Thursday night, 7:30 p.m., right here on twitch.tv/pressxtoalex or over at the 48 Minutes YouTube channel, which I will tweet out. Don't worry. There's a bit.ly link. I'm trying to help them also get to 100 subscribers. So if you find them, subscribe to them so they can get that short URL, because y'all helped me do that in like 2 months, and that's insane. And I want to do the same for them. So that's actually the first podcast I ever did. Also, I did that for 2 years before I started this little guy, this little baby. So support them. Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. The 48 Minutes 2019 NBA Draft Live Watch Along. Again, I'll throw all the links in the episode description, so never worry about having to try and find it. Oh, geez. Okay. 22 and a half minutes in. I think it's time. It's been a couple weeks. I'm going to be a little rusty on this, I think, but without further ado, let's get into the news. Pop open the old Chromebook here. Like I said, got a little bit to talk about. Some rumors, some speculations, and we got that there E3 recap. So it's gonna be a good show, y'all. Let's go. This is over at IGN from Joseph Noop. It looks like The Last of Us 2 might release in February 2020, reports say. It's looking like The Last of Us Part 2 may release in February 2020, according to multiple reports. Originally reported on by Eurogamer, 3 separate reports or comments indicate an early 2020 release date for the highly anticipated The Last of Us 2. First is a recent interview from the Critical Role YouTube channel between voice actor Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie in The Last of Us and plays multiple characters in Critical Role, and Critical Role creative producer Brian Foster, who are also engaged to one another. In the interview, Foster asks Johnson when the game is coming out, and Johnson begins to mouth what appears to be the word February, making a distinct "feh" sound before Foster actually interrupts her with a follow-up comment. You can skip to 1 hour and 7-minute mark to see the exchange. Lending a little more credibility to that possible slip of the tongue is an earlier report from Kotaku's Jason Schreier. Back in May, Schreier's source informed him that Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima's upcoming game, would release in November, which turned out to be true. Along with that, Schreier says he was told The Last of Us 2 was bumped to, quote, early 2020, possibly February, end quote. The actual tweet says, looks like Death Stranding is about to get announced for a November release. The Last of Us 2 is also planned for fall 2019, but I actually just heard it got bumped to early 2020, possibly February. Either way, wild final year for the PS4. Daniel Ahmad, a video game industry analyst for Nico Partners, later posted on Reset Era that February 2020 is the current internal date at developer Naughty Dog for The Last of Us 2. It's not clear how Ahmad came about this information, however. Putting The Last of Us 2 into early 2020 wouldn't be unlikely. The first game released on PS3 in June of 2013, while with Death Stranding, Jedi Fallen Order, Pokemon Sword and Shield, all in November 2019, and Call of Duty and Outer Wilds releasing late October, it would make sense for even a huge title like The Last of Us 2 to allow itself some breathing room early next year. So I think, I typically write, we try not to report on rumors, speculation, and things like that, but this thing has been somewhat corroborated multiple times over, right? Between Schreier, between Ashley, saying this on the Critical Role video, and then Daniel Ahmad's tweet, right? Or posting on Reset Era. It all kind of lines up, and I think it makes sense. I think February seems about right, especially if you're corroborating it with someone saying, hey, Death Stranding's coming out in November, and I'm also hearing this, it makes sense. Now, Q1 2020 is real crazy, right? If we're really, let's just say the first 5 months, right? Let's say the first 5 months. You've got possibly The Last of Us 2. You've got The Avengers in May. You've got Cyberpunk. You've got the Final Fantasy VII remake. You've got Animal Crossing. You've got, we're going to get into it because a bunch of games were announced for 2020 at E3. On top of, Call of Duty in October, you've got Ghost Recon Breakpoint. You've got, a bunch of games of DLC coming out and things like that too. And then Death Stranding in November. You're really gone are the days of the dead period in games, right? It's January is the one dead spot we have in the release schedule. And I need a break. Just give me some chance to breathe. Just thinking about it, I'm already having problems breathing. And I think that's just because I'm grotesquely overweight sometimes. But also I ate a lot of food today. But neither here nor there. You're not here to talk about my eating. Now, it's exciting. I think it lines up. I think it makes sense. Horizon came out late February. Days Gone was April, May. God of War was April. Sony has a tendency to lean into those with, and then kind of putting some in the front half of the year, putting some in the back half of the year as you're getting Death Stranding. I could see Ghost of Tsushima being an early fall, late summer release next year. It's exciting. I mean, it seems like it's going to line up. I don't know if it's going to be a state of play. I don't know if it's going to be kind of like what they did with Death Stranding, where it's just this one special event on Twitch that they slowly roll out over 3 days with some oily hands. I'm going to be interested in see how the message is revealed, right? And parts of me sometimes wonder if there's controlled leaks. We'll get to that with the E3 stuff, but it's intriguing. I think February is a really good time to release it. It's far enough away from Death Stranding, which I don't think is going to be a very long game. And it kind of gives PlayStation as a brand enough time to kind of pump the brakes a little, reset, and then start back up again, and focus the marketing on Last of Us Part 2. It also lines up with, new consoles probably, or not really probably, coming out in holiday of next year. To give that space, give that some time to breathe. You put out one of your last big tentpole releases, and then you can be okay, we've got, of the big three, we've got this one left, and then let's start hammering out these new systems or let them coexist at the same time, right? So it's exciting. I love knowing that we're that close. I'm going to have to go back and finally finish The Last of Us. Now, I know what you're saying. What did I just say? I just snuggly put that through. Look, I've not finished The Last of Us. I know what happens. I've seen the videos. I've seen how it ends. I've seen how it plays, whatever. I've played a solid chunk of it. Now, my issue with The Last of Us is I love the story. I love the characters. I love the world. I love everything about that game except really for the game. And I really wish that it could have decided on a genre. I've never felt Last of Us was confident in the genre it was, whether it was an action adventure, whether it was the survival horror, with the crafting and all the limited ammo, the limited availability of items and things like that. Now, if I'm sitting there scoring The Last of Us, right? 10 out of 10 story, 10 out of 10 characters, 10 out of 10 world, 10 out of 10 lore, all that stuff. I just find the gameplay at like a 6, like a 6.5. It's frustrating. I think there's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts, and I get it, and it's clicked with me on off and on, but never on enough for me to see it through to completion. Now, I 100% know I need to finish it. I 100% know I need to play it before 2 comes out, and I will. I am openly discussing the largest stain on my PlayStation exclusive backlog. So, trust me. I know what I need to do. I'll do it. That mood's got to strike. I think I might wait till it's colder and sadder outside, right? Like when everything's dead, all the leaves and trees and plants all just, go away. They all move south for the winter, and everything's just quiet and snow's on the ground. Just hunker down with a big bowl of sadness and chili. Knock out The Last of Us probably finally. We'll see. And the schedule might adjust. Now, next bit of news. There was that behind closed door Cyberpunk demo. We're sticking with IGN here, but we're going to friend of the show, Colin Stevens. What up, Colin, in the air tonight? The Cyberpunk 2077 E3 2019 demo will be made public during PAX West 2019. The extended gameplay demo of Cyberpunk 2077 shown behind closed doors during E3 2019 will be made public during PAX West 2019. Revealed by CD Projekt Red global community lead Marcin Momat on Twitter, industry insider Shinobi602 wrote, quote, Cyberpunk 2077 extended gameplay demo won't be made public until after Gamescom 2019, which is August 20th through the 24th, end quote. To which Momat responded, quote, it's going to happen exactly during PAX West, end quote. This year's PAX West is set to take place in Seattle, Washington from August 30th to September 2nd. CD Projekt Red previously revealed it wouldn't show the demo publicly until after Gamescom. Oh my god, my eyes kind of blurred and looked like it said Gamescom, but didn't initially announce a specific time frame. This roughly 50-minute demo was hands-off and will likely remain this way for PAX West. It's heavily gameplay focused and includes the same mission through 2 different perspectives. One through a male version of the protagonist V as a netrunner, and the other more action-heavy featuring a female version of V. Keanu Reeves' Johnny Silverhand is in the demo as a sort of ghost-like companion character. You can check out, showing behind closed doors demo at E3 and later revealing to the public has become a pattern for CD Projekt Red, as its E3 2018 behind closed doors demo was made public later that August via a 45-minute video. So, Cyberpunk 2077 kind of left E3 the talk of the town, right? And like Colin notes in the article there, it makes sense, right? It's in line with what CD Projekt Red does, where you release the game and then, or you do the behind the closed doors demo, then like a couple conferences later, you reveal it out to the public. So we'll see more. We'll see what the BCD demo was and get a better idea. But that thing, man, you talk about what the belle of the ball was for E3. It was clearly Cyberpunk 2077. Oh my god, the rust on me from not doing an actual podcast in 2 weeks is showing. Jesus. Now, I'm excited for Cyberpunk. It's up there with my most anticipated games, and we'll get there for like what were my favorite things that I saw from behind this table at E3. But yeah, man, Cyberpunk just seems like such a really interesting world, like such a really like cool concept, and I really love the idea that you're kind of just playing this nobody, like your character's not anybody special. You can have certain mods that other people don't get, and vice versa, and that dictates the menus and the interface and things like that. Like I'm enamored with what CD Projekt Red has on their hands. It's not the only game that a developer has on their hands that I'm quite enamored with, and like I said, we'll get there. But we got one more news story before we go to the E3 recap and scoring my predictions, which are not good. This is over at Games Radar E3. Actually, no, that's... so the last news story, which apparently just disappeared, was from Games Radar. It talked about how No Man's Sky fans are crowdsourcing on GoFundMe a billboard thanking Hello Games for their work on No Man's Sky making it the game that they promised, and the continued hard work and endeavor on that. They also were buying lunch and a case of beer for the team. Just a nice symbolic gesture and signs that not all video game fans are pedantic assholes, because that, I think, sometimes is the message that gets lost in the shuffle. There's a lot of negativity, and there's a lot of like finger pointing and scapegoating on the internet, and it's nice to see when a game gets that dedicated fan base that is, grateful and for like the work that was done, and the dedication to the game. Like, if you're dedicated to your product, your community is going to be dedicated to you. And I think that just resonates with what Hello Games has done with No Man's Sky, turning it into almost a completely different game, like a full 180 into this big thing they've promised, over the course of a handful of years. So just wanted to shout that out. Well done, good people. So I think it's time we do some listener mail. Dan wrote into psforums.pressx to Alex, just like you can, and asked, Alex, I know you didn't cover Ubisoft and Nintendo's press conferences like you had hoped. I hope you were well. I am, Dan. Thank you. What were some of your highlights of E3 and what you saw with all the conferences? And what games did you walk away from most anticipating? So yeah, let's go ahead and discuss this. So I talked about it before, right? I tweeted it over at twitter.com/pressxtoalex, where you can follow me. Links are in the description. Some of the stuff I was most excited for. I think Cyberpunk 2077 is an incredibly ambitious game. I think it is the exact follow-up you would want to The Witcher, or to The Witcher 3, right? Where you're going to build off this grandiose scope and everything, and really like hammer home your growth and hammer home, that as CD Projekt Red, you are going to own this open world RPG space. Like, I think that there's a lot of scratching and clawing to be the king of that mountain. And I think CD Projekt Red has the biggest and best claim to it. I think, you do have people like teams like Bethesda who had Fallout, but you can kind of see that even they kind of got beat at their own game, right? You have Bethesda, excuse me, again, my goodness, with Elder Scrolls and the like, and you have Sony kind of getting in there with Horizon, and the open world RPG is a pretty rampant, zeitgeisty kind of like large swath of the game space. And for someone to want to take that throne, you've got to do something different. You've got to do something ambitious. And Cyberpunk is one of the two most ambitious games I saw at these press conferences. I think they had the biggest shock announcement with the involvement of Keanu Reeves and the age of leaks. I don't know how that didn't come out. The other one that I think is incredibly ambitious is what Ubi's doing with Watch Dogs Legion. So that kind of came out, and it was like, hey, like, play as any NPC, which I kind of derided it as being sort of, contradictory, sort of oxymoronic in a way. You can't play as a non-playable character. How is this going to work? And that's how Ubisoft's conference started after the Symphony, right? Is they went straight into it, and really one of the only major tentpole press conferences that showed gameplay of a major title. Like, honest to God gameplay, right? Like, we saw it with Square, with Final Fantasy, and like loose interstitials with the Avengers, but this was a light E3 in terms of like showing off what the game is and what it can do and how one plays it. What Watch Dogs has in Legion is no main character. You kind of have your eye in the sky, right? You have your Oracle with Gendry, I believe his name was. And you got to see multiple characters and how those interact. And it had that GTA 5 kind of element where, like, if you up and move to a different character, they're still living their life. They aren't just standing in the middle of the road where you left them. Like, they're, like you see Helen, like, standing and looking at the river in London and everything. And then you've kind of got, like I said, that central focus. Greg Miller on Kind of Funny talked about it as Charlie, and you're playing as the Angels. And I think that was a really, really super great on the nose, like, kind of metaphor for it. And being able to jump character to character. And I would love to know if the NPCs are procedurally generated, because I think that would take a load off the development within the engine. But being able to do that, including permadeath with those characters too, I think is 100% the right and best and most perfect move. And I think it makes the game way more enticing to kind of throw that element in there, because when you've got this expansive world of people, of literally anybody that you're trying to recruit, I think if you made the talents procedurally generated and then you include that permadeath, it's so enticing because it doesn't make you overpowered as a player. Like, you've got to seek specifics with these specific skills and everything like that. But if one dies, that's it. You got to go find another. And I think that keeps you as a player from having a sort of like God complex of being like, I'll just recruit him and her and her and him. Now, how this is going to work in terms of the uniqueness of the player models, the voices, the acting, and all of that stuff, I'm really excited to see, because I think that is where a lot of that stuff, like something as ambitious as this, is really going to hinge on. It's another 2020 release, which is kind of a bummer, especially when Ubi's not doing an Assassin's Creed this year. I think maybe it could have been this year, but I think, like I said, this very ambitious project they have on their hands probably needs a few more months. You kick it back, you put it in March or whatever. You don't send it out to die, but you kick it back. I think that to me, getting to see the gameplay of it really, for me, like vaulted it ahead of so many other games, of being like, holy shit, like I've not played a Watch Dogs, but like that is the one I will play for sure. No questions asked. Like, I will play Watch Dogs Legion. Another game that I really, really, really was fascinated with was Deathloop, which was Arcane Studios' new game. We saw that one at the Bethesda conference. I thought Deathloop looks so cool without seeing the gameplay. It was the way the trailer was done was exactly what I would have wanted out of it, right? Like, Dishonored has never really struck a chord with me. But the combat has always looked super fluid and super like interesting in terms of how you can attack stuff and go at it in different, parameters, different worlds, different styles and things like that. You can play it to your own liking and to your own creation. And I think if you took that and applied it to just like fucking anything else, I would probably play that game. Just for some reason, Dishonored's like art and world and lore has never sunk its hooks into me. So taking that and applying it to like a grindhouse style, like look and feel of a game, of like a 1v1, infinite time loop of death, hence the name Deathloop. Give me more of it. I want to see more of it. I want to see actual gameplay, because I would love to know, like, do you play as the guy first and you got to go hunt the girl, and if you die you switch, or if you kill her you switch and she's got to kill you, and like all this other stuff. I want to know how that's going to work. I want to know more of the meat and potatoes of the game. But if you're telling me that it's this grindhousey looking infinite, like not infinite shooter obviously, but like a 1v1 like sci-fi grindhouse time loop kind of conundrum, like fuck yeah, I'm in. Are you kidding me? You're taking the best part of a game I don't give a shit about and applying it to something that sounds fucking awesome. Like, yes, thank you for making Deathloop. 12 minutes was another one that really got me. I'd actually been on the mailing list for 12 minutes updates for like a year and a half. It's made by some former Giant Sparrow people, because it kind of got looped into it when I released that What Remains of Edith Finch video back last February. I got followed by someone who was like 12 minutes. I was like, oh, I'll check out 12 minutes. And I was like, this looks really cool. And then I just kind of jumped out of it because I was like, this probably seems like it's a little ways off, whatever. And then here we are. I think 12 minutes looks really cool. It's another time loop game, but it's also like a mystery. And I love that. It's a top down and you're kind of reliving the same moment. And it's very Groundhog Day-esque, but not in like, it's not a Groundhog Day thriller the same way that like Happy Death Day is a Groundhog Day thriller. There doesn't seem like there's a lot of humor in this. I'm really excited to see more of that. Really excited to actually get a chance to play that maybe one day when it's out. Those were the big three. Doom Eternal was one I really want to do. Doom is some of my, like the OG Doom is some of my earliest gaming memories. I have not done outside the hour-long demo of Doom 2016. It's on my list. I know. Don't come at me. I got till November. It's like a 13-hour game. I can churn through that. No problem. I just got to find 13 hours, right? Like I beat God of War in a sitting. I can do Doom. Doom Eternal looks sick as hell. And then if I had to pick a fifth one, I want to say Skatebird. Like I really do, because that's just like a dumb fucking thing that Alex Derrickson would love. The Devolver bootleg launcher over at the from the Devolver Digital Direct, that's on Steam. That's right up my alley, because it's just bootleg versions of Devolver games, which is just so tongue in cheek that I can't really I can't say no to it. I'm trying to think of other ones. Let me go through the notebook real fast, because I know Cyberpunk and 12 minutes, Watch Dogs, Skatebird's definitely in there, just because, like I said, it's the best kind of stupid for me. Blair Witch looked really cool. I'm really interested in how that one's going to work. I was really surprised to actually see that a Blair Witch game was being made in 2019. Let's see. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga on the list. Definitely deeper on the list, like in the top 20 kind of situation. Let me see. What did Bethesda have? Let's see. I really thought I would have thought of a fifth one a lot quicker than this. Devolver, kind of funny stuff. Yeah, I mean, like Skatebird just looks so fucking adorable, though. How can I say no? Oh yeah, Jesus Christ, Alex, you dumb motherfucker. Final Fantasy VII remake. Like, how did I leave that one off the list? Now, I've not played Final Fantasy VII. Just didn't. The only Final Fantasy I've played is 8, and yes, I am excited for the 8 remaster. No question about it. I will get that, because it's the only JRPG I've played longer than like 20 hours, I feel like. But really want to get back into there. But with Final Fantasy VII, I love the way it looks like they took that and put it in 2019, or I guess in this case 2020 when it comes out in March. I think when I looked at Final Fantasy VII now, it's just like, okay, it's a turn-based RPG. Like, I get it. The story's cool. The characters are interesting. But, like, to take that and modernize it beyond graphics, beyond, like, scoring the game, beyond, like, voice acting, but actually tailoring the gameplay to 2019, moving it beyond just a hack and slashy pound X like you do in Kingdom Hearts. It's a game that I think it takes something that is moderately archaic, moderately anachronistic, and brings it with a sense of modernity that if you sat there and you showed me the Final Fantasy VII remake and you asked me, what year was this game made? I'd be like, 2019, 2020 probably. And if you were to be like, but this is a remake of a game from the early to mid 90s, I'd be like, no, fuck you. And if you showed it to me, I'd be like, this is not the same game. Like, this is something completely different. Like, stop lying to me. And I think that's enough. Like, if you can hook me on a game that is in a genre I don't care about, congratulations, you've got my money. Like, even if I get in there, I put 30, 45 minutes into it of a $60 game, and I'm like, whoop, it wasn't for me. Like, you got me. You got what mattered, and that was you got in my pockets. And you took the fillet of fish out, and you got me to spend it on Final Fantasy VII. Like, well done. I'm in. I am so in for the Final Fantasy VII remake. And as much as I've joked and lauded that the game isn't coming out and it's not real and all this other stuff, like, Jesus Christ, like, what a game that is. I was stunned by it, and then actually seeing the gameplay in effect and how you're going to jump party members and strip away or move away from the real time aspect or the turn based aspect into a more like real time thing, the ATB meter, like all that stuff. Is just like, yes, thank you. So my 5, in no order: Cyberpunk, 12 minutes, Deathloop, Watch Dogs, and I'd say Final Fantasy VII. Doom Eternal's right there, but really, if you're factoring in like the ones that I walked away like still like thinking about and be like, man, I can't wait to play those, it's definitely those. And 2, 3 of them are genres out of games I don't really play. But like I said, if you want to get a new audience, if you want to sustain in games, you've got to start doing stuff different. And I think the 3 of those 5 games, all 5 of those games are very different, but 3 of those 5 to get me to be like, all right, a JRPG and some open world games, sure, I'll play them. Like, you've got to do something. And whether that's building a really good like character, really good lore, narrative, whatever, gameplay, it's got to be something different. Because like, I feel like, open world RPGs for me are overwhelming. overbearing. There's too much going on. It's hard to keep up with. And as I get older, like, I want to play more than just one game in my lifetime a year. And so to have me like sit there and look at 3 different or 2 open world games and 1 very long JRPG that's going to be 2 Blu-ray discs just for half of it or whatever, I'm just like, yeah, sure, I'll play those. Like, yeah, why not? I'll try them out. They look more up my alley than anything else I've seen in those genres probably since Horizon Zero Dawn in terms of open world games, and Persona 5 just based off its art style. But I'm very hands off on Persona 5. That ain't happening. Y'all can try. It ain't happening. Maybe I'll do Bloodborne. I think that's a good compromise. Me playing a game that I'm just going to brutally just get destroyed in another genre I'm not that good at or care about. So maybe I'll compromise and we'll meet in the middle and I'll do a Bloodborne thing instead of a Persona 5 thing. Will that make you happy? Will that make you happy, Joseph? Leave me alone. Stop harassing me. I love you, Joseph. So let's recap. Let's recap that there E3. And let's figure out. So let's go through my predictions and see how I did. And I can tell you, not good. So, Xbox. My predictions. Remember, there were 3 actual predictions and a hype prediction for a total of 4 predictions. I predicted I said Cyberpunk 2077 would have a release date. We got it. Some sort of exclusivity from FromSoft. Wrong. A Nintendo crossover, probably Game Pass. Wrong. And then I said, hype, THQ Nordic shows a new Kingdoms of Amalur. Wrong. 1 for 4. 1 out of 4. Bethesda. I said Doom Eternal, October 22nd. Doom Eternal is November 22nd. Elder Scrolls 6 details, including the title, the name of the area, and, quote, 100 times bigger than Skyrim. Wrong. Not even there. Just like a fart in the wind. They came out and they were like, meh, next gen stuff, not gonna talk about it here. Haha, bye. Fallout 76 revamp. Got it. Hype. A new IP from Arcane Studios. Boom. 2 out of 4. Ubisoft. A new Splinter Cell is revealed. Just Dance is still coming to the Wii. Ting. That's a slam dunk. And if you all ever doubt that prediction, nah. Nope. You're wrong. Go wait under the car. A new Rayman game was going to be shown. It was a 2.5D platformer and has a VR component. Wrong on all fronts. Hype. Prince of Persia is back. Wrong. I'm still wrong. I've been wrong for like 3.5 years in a row, 4 years in a row, whatever. I will continue to be wrong for 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row. I will be a skeleton in my goddamn grave before I ever get to see another Prince of Persia game. That's why I went out to my local GameStop and spent like $15 on the HD trilogy and the Prince of Persia game from like 2008. So I'm going to just play through those because fuck it, I can't get what I want. Square. My predictions were Soul Reaver lives and being developed by Crystal Dynamics and Crystal Northwest. Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC. Got it. Final Fantasy VII is 2 episodes. Each are over 25 hours. And episode 1 is in early 2020 with no date. It was just going to say Q1. Episode 2, Q4 of 2020. None of that was revealed to be that accurate. And the date was revealed before E3. At the Symphony. Hype cinematic trailer for Final Fantasy 16. 1 out of 4. Nintendo. 3 new Super Smash Bros. DLC characters were going to be shown. 1 was going to be available imminently. They were going to be Banjo-Kazooie, Waluigi, and Reggie. I got 0.3 of those correct. They only showed 2 new Smash Brothers characters, one being the Dragon Quest hero, the other being Banjo-Kazooie, Bing Bang Boom. Nothing was revealed to be immediate, Bing Bang Gong Bong, and it was Banjo-Kazooie and the Dragon Warrior, Dragon Hero, the Luminary, because we had to see that trailer like 3 times. So 1/3 of a point. Woohoo! Rare Replay coming to Switch. Wrong. I was so sure of that one. And then Metroid Prime Trilogy comes to Switch. Wrong. Hype. WarioWare, baby. Wrong. 0.3 out of 4, bringing me to a total of out of 1, 4, 8, 12, 16, out of a possible 20, I got 3, 4, 5 and a third. For just a hair over 25% of my correction, or yeah, five and a third points out of 20 points. Boo. I did put another prediction. Does Sony show? No. I was right there. The only time Sony actually got a whiff of anything was they tweeted out that they were at, someone running the social media of PlayStation was at E3 because they took a photo of Cyberpunk. And then the PS4 was mentioned at Square Enix during the Avengers segment where they talked about the beta was going to be timed exclusive with PlayStation with other exclusive bits here and there. Nothing really outside of that, though. So I was right there. That wasn't really a prediction. That just seemed more like a dunk. So I'm going over to Games Radar for a nice little E3 recap. So E3 2019 games. Here are the biggest games from the show. This is from the Games Radar staff. I'm just going to kind of point out some other highlights here. From Nintendo, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel was announced to be in development. That's exciting. It seems very Majora's Masky. I'm really intrigued by it. I've never been Zelda. I know Zelda's good. Zelda's just never clicked with me. That's just, I didn't grow up with it, so I got to it very late, and it just didn't register with me. I think it the same way it would have had I gotten to it when I was a little younger. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This was their quick write-up about this. Releases November 15th, 2019. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was one of our most anticipated E3 2019 games coming into the exposition. And its long-awaited gameplay reveal did not disappoint. We saw our young hero, Cal Kestis, slicing his way through an Imperial facility on the Wookiee homeworld of Kashyyyk, sometimes slicing in the sense of hacking systems, with the help of his droid buddy BD-1, and sometimes slicing in the sense of cutting through groups of stormtroopers with a lightsaber. The gameplay demo concluded by setting up what looked to be a boss fight-worthy encounter with K2SO lookalike, who was way less sympathetic to the rebel cause than its famous cousin. Let's see here. Baldur's Gate 3 was shown kind of beforehand. It was part of the Stadia thing. Animal Crossing New Horizons is coming March 20, 2020. That looks really cool. I'm interested to see how they Tom Nook their way out of that one. Oh, God. They showed that Contra game. That was like one of the worst fucking looking games I've seen in a long ass time. Dragon Quest Builders was announced. It's coming July 12th, 2019. Not really announced, I guess. I mean, it was kind of a known thing. There's a demo coming for it June 27th. Let's see. No More Heroes 3 is coming in 2020. Let's keep moving. Let's keep seeing what they got. I'm trying to think of anything else that stood out to me where I was like, that looks cool. Like, I don't know. If we're gonna review E3, if I had to rank them, here's how it would go. I want to make sure I get this. I want to make sure I put my head in the right place. It's gonna go Nintendo, Square, Microsoft, Bethesda, Ubisoft. Way down here. If you're listening, I moved my hand about 5 inches lower than the rest of them to put Ubisoft. And here's why. Now, Nintendo, originally, during the reactions, I said Square Enix temporarily was getting my Tropicana Award for bringing in the juice. I have to move the Tropicana Award to Nintendo because they brought the juice. Like, let's just be real. They, I think, had, and granted, you have this advantage with the directs where you get this very, concise, truncated, direct message. But you saw no one, I don't think anyone got an A. I don't think anyone knocked this out of the park. This was a very weird E3. It was like a B plus E3, right? It's Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 B plus player storyline of E3. Where, yeah, there's stuff they tossed out there, but everything, this whole E3 felt like a holding pattern. But I thought Nintendo did a really good job of just being like, hey, look, sorry, Animal Crossing's delayed. It's coming in March. But Breath of the Wild 2, it's not a new Zelda game. It is a sequel to Breath of the Wild. It's coming. Sequels in the Zelda universe are very, very, very few and far between. I I thought that Resident Evil commercial was super shitty. I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know who'd let that even happen. Uh, but in terms of like conciseness, getting in, getting out, they didn't really do anything to blow anybody away. I still think that there was a lot more that could have brought to the table, but that's kind of a running theme through all of this. With Square, in terms of Alex Derrickson watching the thing, I don't fucking care. It's all JRPGs and it was all Dragon Quest stuff and all that stuff that I don't really care about. I think it started hot, it ended hot. And that's what I'm going to remember. But also at the same time, though, it sags in the middle, but I don't think it sagged near as bad as some of the rest of E3 kind of did. And also, throwing it out to Nintendo, I loved what they showed of Luigi's Mansion. Now back over to Square. I thought, like I said, it was bookended really nicely. The stuff in the middle, I think if you're a JRPG person, it was right up your alley. I don't know why you needed to include that the music was available on Spotify through all the Square games. I don't know if the let me get my notes because I don't want to get get stuff entirely wrong. I can get stuff wrong here and there, but I don't want to get too wrong, right? Let's see, what was it? It was the Collective. I didn't think that needed to be in there. That could have just been a dev diary. I don't know why you threw Life is Strange 2 in there. Crystal Chronicles is a nice little reminder that that's still happening. Octopath being made available. Last Remnant, I think, was something that we kind of forgot about. Dragon Quest Builders, literally my notes were looks cute. Not for me, though. Dragon Quest 11 coming to Switch. Also on the topic of Switch, announcing The Witcher, that was a cool thing because everyone's like, oh, The Witcher can't run on Switch, and yeah, it wasn't the prettiest looking thing I've ever seen, but like you got to make those sacrifices, and having The Witcher on the go, I think, is like probably ideal way to play The Witcher, especially if you're someone that travels a lot. Having the Saga games being brought over, that's cool, I guess. Like I said, it wasn't a whole lot of stuff for me per se, but in terms of like grading it as a conference, it was a B. Like, it didn't do anything inherently wrong. It just like really made you wait for the Avengers, and they got all their other shit out of the way. But I think Final Fantasy VII looks great. The Avengers I'm curious about. I'd like to see more of that, probably when the beta comes out and everything like that, but we're still a year away from that game. I think Square did a really good job in terms of delivering a message with minimal sag, which kind of brings me to Xbox, which was, I don't feel like they announced anything we didn't already know. And like Project Scarlet, that's where I kind of got into like controlled leaks and things like that. Like, they didn't do anything to me that made me go, oh, okay, shit, yeah, that's awesome, I should go get an Xbox right now. Like, nothing about it got me hyped for Scarlet because it was all, tech salad basically, but nothing about it made me go, I need to get an Xbox One right now. Like, nothing about it I found super enticing. I thought their messaging was better than it's been, but like I said, nothing about it made me sit there and be like, fuck yeah, Xbox is back. Gonna go buy an Xbox One now. Let's go. And then to cap it off with being like, hey, Project Scarlet, holiday 2020. Here is a trailer talking about the tech of it. And it didn't do anything for me in terms of like tech speak outside of like what Sony's already done with that Wired article, or what was happened with that meeting with the Wall Street Journal where the video was leaked and all that stuff. Like, nothing about it did anything different for me there, comparatively, if we're like juxtaposing the two. Now, with them coming out and being like, hey, Project Scarlet's going to launch with Halo Infinite. Here's Halo Infinite. I honestly think, in terms of 2019, 2020 stuff, that was the worst trailer you could have shown if you're showing it to highlight your new hardware. I didn't see anything. I was like, oh, wow, the green on Master Chief's suit really pops. Like, there's some cool stuff there, but I would have loved to have seen particle effects. I would have loved to have seen dynamic lighting. Would have loved to have seen, water, or like fucking anything. Like, we're at peak graphics right now, right? Like, it's got to come down to like more granular technicalities in terms of how these games are going to be developed, processed, sold, received, how we're going to consume them and ingest them, how the load times are going to be. And yes, they talked about load times, but like, how like the more minutia of this is going to look and work and play. And I didn't get that from that Halo demo. I was just like, wow, cool. Like his suit looks good. All right. Like everything else, like if you put that side by side and you're like, is this Xbox One X or is this Project Scarlet? I'd be like, since you're asking, probably Project Scarlet. But if you just wanted me to infer from, incomplete data, I'd say it's probably a 1X. And if they were like, no, it's next gen, I'd kind of be like, what's the point then? But I couldn't, for me, I did not see a discernible difference between what we have now and what they're showing with Halo. And then there was just a shit ton of sag in the middle where I was just kind of like, what are these games? Who are these games for? And there a lot of games, honest to God, that like my head hit the pillow these nights and I'm just like, well, forgot them. And that's why I wrote everything down. The Dragon Ball Z game looks cool. That's probably going to be multi-platform. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga looks cool. Probably going to be multi-platform. And if you're starting a trailer with the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, that stuff has weight. Like, you got to tease the Lego stuff maybe a little before you get to that. Like, kind of let us know. Temper the expectations because you don't want everyone to be like, oh. I thought the Crossfire X announcement was just fucking dumb. Like, really? Like, that was so much build-up for a non-response. I don't really know what that is, what the big deal about it was. Like, is it a big deal? Because, like, Phil Spencer made it seem like a big deal, but the guys in the crowd and the women in the crowd next to him just kind of looked at him like, all right. It was a very Jeb Bush please clap moment. Ninja Theory's game, not the follow-up to Hellblade I would have liked to have seen. Again, that's me. Outer Worlds looks cool, but again, multi-platform. Cyberpunk looks cool, but again, multi-platform. The idea of Xbox stuff, I don't know. I didn't really get a good chance to really like ingest those games to like process them and think about, okay, is this something I'd like? The Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass PC stuff makes sense. It's tempting. I think you can start to kind of see Xbox becoming Xbox the service more than like Xbox the hardware manufacturer and Xbox the game publisher. I think they're trying to, consume as much of the pie as they can and splitting it into thirds. I think we'll see. It may hurt them. I don't know. I'm interested to see how like the xCloud stuff's going to stack up against Stadia. Moving on to Bethesda. Man, that Bethesda's just felt long. Like Xbox has felt long, but Bethesda's felt long. And if I'm sitting there and like trying to rank them, I said, Microsoft, Bethesda, but it's more like, tectonic plates, right? They're more just like rubbing up against each other in terms of which one I like better or worse. I think it could change on a given day. I think, I like their message is always like, we're about the people, the games are for the people. We are the people making the games. I thought Deathloop, like I said, I walked away thinking is one of the coolest things that I saw the whole time doing this. It opened with a lot of mobile stuff and it had a lot of like, ESO stuff. And it's just, again, a running theme this E3 was just, here are updates to the stuff we're already doing. Here's the updates to those games you already like. Here's what's coming. And it all felt like stuff. Nothing about it screamed E3. It all felt like E3-like reveals, but without the weight and the stakes that typically come with E3. And I'm not looking for like PlayStation E3 2016, which for me is the barometer. It is the bar. It is the measuring stick for how you fucking do an E3 press conference. But like, I think the Fallout 76 revamp, great. I think that's overdue to an extent. Like, great job. Ghostwire Tokyo looks fucking awesome, but no date. Just the trailer or the teaser and a title card. I love the idea. I really, really, really want to see that because I love thriller games more than I love horror games, and I think Shinji Mikami is a master of both. So I really want to see more of that. Let's see, the ZeniMax stuff, don't really care about. Rage 2 expansion stuff. Cyberpilot for Wolfenstein, the VR thing didn't do anything for me. Youngblood looks really cool, but not as cool as Deathloop. They showed Orion, which is their streaming software they're building into the game engines. Looks cool. Don't really know if it needed to be there, and don't really know if that needed to be the lead-in to Doom Eternal. But, we got to see a lot of gameplay of Doom Eternal, or a little vertical slice of it, rather. November 22nd, grappling hook shotgun. Sounds awesome. Looks great. Looks like a ton of fun. I know I saw it again on the Kind of Funny Gamescast talking about it as a weird like M-rated super gory Celeste, and I totally see that with like the platforming and the dashing. And then Devolver was Devolver. If you don't watch the Devolver conferences, you're missing out. The Kind of Funny Game Showcase was really good. I thought it was a little overindulgent in terms of the amount they threw. I equated it to a Golden Corral. All of the reactions and reviews for individually can be found on the YouTube channel. I'll throw the playlist up here. Boop. And then, like I said, Square. But if we're ranking the big five, I think Ubisoft really came in at the bottom. It felt like the most traditional E3 thing. We're not there anymore. We're past that. We're not in the stage of here's a game, here's a person talking about it, here's a game, here's a person talking about it. And like for me, like you bring out the people to talk about the game when they are tentpole releases, and either Ubisoft's building the biggest tent in the world or they're trying to hold all their games in the same regard, same light. I think you open with Just Dance. Like that's how you like can at least either annoy the shit out of your audience at the start or at least get them hyped and like feeling good, grooving, you know, whatever. Like that game makes Ubisoft a ton of money. Just put it out there. Put it out there the first thing, open it like that and make that it. I don't know why you open with the Assassin's Creed Symphony if you're not hyping anything Assassin's Creed outside of the Symphony. Like I don't see why that needed to be. I think if you're going to throw a specialty thing like that, it's got to be either a theme, a lead-in, or something. But like to open it with this beautiful orchestration and then be like, come see us on our road show. You're like, oh, that there's not an Assassin's Creed announcement? Like, no, we put that in the pre-show. And it's like, but why? Why'd you do that? Why? I don't understand. And I think, you know, the Breakpoint stuff looks great. Whatever. John Barenthal coming out and being like, hey, look, here's my dog. I'm going to talk to you about Breakpoint. It's like, okay, cool. Like, and then like the Division stuff, it was built up. And then it was just like so much. It was build up. And it's just like a running theme. Build up, and let down. Build up, and let down. And it just never felt like it clicked. It never felt like all the wheels got spinning. And it felt just like a conference out of time, and not in terms of like, not having enough time because they had an hour and 15 minutes. But even by Ubisoft standards, it still felt long. Watch Dogs looked sick. Like that's what you want. That's a great way to start that whole thing out. But like you never capitalized on that momentum. It never felt like it really got going beyond that. It was just a lot of, hey, here's what's coming to Rainbow Six Siege. Hey, here's what's coming to The Division. Hey, Just Dance. Hey, here's what's coming to this. And it never felt like they did anything. It's like, oh, hey, you wanted Sam Fisher? He's in a mobile game. And it's like, what? But I don't know. It's just, I felt like Ubisoft's was just the most off-paced, off-putting, slow drag. And like I said, opened for the first game they showed being Watch Dogs Legion. Great way to open it. Never really capitalized. Never really got that going again, I felt like. Like if I reviewed E3 as a whole, it's a B. I mean, like a B minus maybe. It's just everything felt like B's and C's, right? Like nothing like blew me away. Nothing, and I don't feel like anything really hit like what you would call an A tier conference, which is kind of a bummer. But like we're familiar with that because it kind of happened in 2012, right? It's 2011 or 2012, but it kind of felt like everybody was just in this holding pattern because it was like on the cusp of these new consoles and everybody's playing their hands, you know, close to their chest. And they're just like, well, we don't really want to show anything. But I don't know. I think this was the time to do it when there wasn't as many major players. It was a massive missed opportunity to not just dunk it, not just blow the doors off. Like I said, the end of the Xbox One, like, you had a chance to really just kick the doors down, barge in, put up your flag, be like, this is our fucking house now. And instead, it's like they were like, hey, you home? Anybody here? Did you guys change the locks? I'm going to jiggle the handle. And it's like, why are you playing so passive? Like, everything about it just felt passive. And outside of the Keanu thing, nothing really like blew me away. The Elden Ring stuff was not a whole lot of stuff to see. Link's Awakening looks adorable, looks great, cool. It's just nothing about anything anyone did through the whole scope of the 2-3 days did anything to really knock it out of the park. It was a weird E3. And it was, I don't want to say it was weak because a lot of stuff was shown, a lot of stuff was announced, but it lacked a lot of gameplay. It lacked a lot of like new shocking announcements. It lacked a lot of like punch and pizzazz. And it's a bummer. I think next year everyone's going to bring it because I think they have to because we're gearing up, for a war. But fuck, man, it was E3. I went to a wedding this week and everybody was like, "What'd you think of E3? What'd you think of this?" I'm just like, it was fine. It was cool. I guess it could have been better. And that's just kind of how I felt after every conference. It's like, cool, like that was good, I guess. Thank you, Dan, for writing in. I'm also counting that as new games and dates. So if you want to know what's coming out this week while you're listening to the show, then we need to do the drop. Remember, the drop are your new releases for the week of June 18th, 2019 across the North American PlayStation Store, subject to change without notice. Up first, we have Another Sight Extended, comes to PS4 digital June 19th. A teenager who has lost her sight, Kit, and a mysterious cat, Hodge, team up in a surreal fantasy adventure into the unexpected, both together and separately, each using their own unique talents to explore compelling environments and solve intriguing puzzles. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night comes to PS4 digital and retail. Igavania returns, play as Miriam, an orphan scarred by an alchemist's curse which slowly crystallizes her body. To save humanity and herself in the process, she must fight through the castle and defeat the summoner Gebel. Gebel. Bring Them Home comes to PS4 digital June 21st. Bring Them Home is an exciting puzzle game in which you must rescue little astronauts by being clever and imaginative. Since each astronaut has unique abilities, complex puzzle worlds must be mastered to find a way out, explore interesting locations, activate and use different mechanisms to bring the brave heroes home. Citizens of Space comes to PS4 digital. Representatives of the Galactic Federation, thank you for having me here tonight to celebrate Earth's acceptance into this noble organization. It's an absolute honor to act as the ambassador of Earth, a most honorable role, and what's that? Earth is missing? Look. If you're going to come at me with that bullshit, you tell me what the fucking game is. You tell me, is it a puzzle? Is it a Metroidvania? Is it a platformer? Is it a football manager? I don't know. I want to help your game do well. I want to promote your game. Fucking tell me what the game is. Come on. What the shit? Get it together. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled comes to PS4 digital June 20th and retail June 21st. Crash is back in the driver's seat. Get ready to go full throttle with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. It's the authentic CTR experience plus a whole lot more. Now fully remastered and revved up to the max. The stakes are high and the competition is fierce. It's the CTR you love, now kicked into the highest gear. Crystal Crisis comes to PS4 digital. An all-star cast of heroes has gathered to test their mettle in Crystal Crisis, a cute and chaotic new color-matching combat game. Crystal Crisis is presented like a one-on-one fighting game in which players attack by arranging colorful falling crystals and clearing them from the screen. It's the ultimate puzzle battle throwdown. Siberian, the time-traveling wonder, comes to PS4 and PS Vita digital cross-buy. Get the Sword of Ages. Travel to the future and try to live long enough to brag about it. Drawing inspiration from old-school platformers, Siberian, the time-traveling warrior, is an arcade title with some beat-em-up gameplay qualities. See, I know what the game is. That's what I mean. When I ask you what is the game, that's what I mean. Judgment comes to PS4 Digital June 21st, retail June 25th. From the team that brought you the Yakuza series comes Judgment, a gritty tale of disgraced attorney Takeyuki Yagami in his quest for redemption. Haunted by the past, he takes up arms as a private detective, clawing his way through Kamurocho's underground crime network to investigate a string of grisly murders. Okay, y'all. I don't know how many of you are watching live. I don't know how many of y'all are going to be watching on YouTube later or listening. I regret to inform you that this game is on the list, thus meaning I have to read it. I will not use my typical jovial reading as I do. I will stay in this tone for the entire reading to express my disappointment. Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry, comes to PS4 Digital June 19th. Larry's new adventure takes him, whatever the route or twist of fate, from the end of the 80s directly into the 21st century. And wow, has the world changed. Luna comes to PSVR and PS4 Digital. A bird's peaceful summer slumber is disturbed by the majestic call of a mysterious owl. Enticed to swallow the last piece of the waning moon, bird is blown far from its Golden Gate home. Unscramble celestial puzzles and create miniature musical worlds. Luna is an interactive fable about learning by the light of unexpected mistakes. Mars Alive comes to PSVR Digital. Mars Alive is a survival PSVR game in the open world. After a terrifying explosion, the whole colony was destroyed. As an astronaut staying on Mars, explore the planet and collect resources to survive in this brutal world. Reveal the truth behind the civilization on this red planet, which is full of mystery and conspiracy. Mini Mech Mayhem comes to PSVR Digital. Join your Lil Mech buddy to plan a flawless strategy, then marvel at just how wrong you were. Not to worry. Play some power actions to get your team back on track, or dare to trust in your instincts and crafty skills, and pull off a stunning win. Project Lux comes to PSVR Digital June 20th. Our story takes place in a court trial, set in a futuristic world where most humans have cyber brains. The defendant on trial is an agent who coordinates with artists to create the data for cyber brains to interact with people's emotions. The jury has to investigate what really happened by reliving the memory data of the defendant. Slum Ball comes to PSVR Digital and is fucking the worst cover art of the week, hands down. Slum Ball is a physics-based paddleball game with an objective to collect as many points as possible. Slum Ball is a fun way to exercise and gain coordination without even realizing it. What the fuck? God damn it, some of these games. Underworld Ascendant comes to PSVR Digital June 20th. Enter the Stygian Abyss, a dangerous, highly interactive dungeon world. Mix and match dozens of combat, stealth, and magic skills to develop your own unique style of play. Set out on more than 70 quests, earn rewards, and unlock skills. Become the Ascendant. Vacation Simulator comes to PSVR Digital. Welcome to the Vacation Simulator, a rough approximation of vacation, inspired by real human, not jobbing. Brought to you by the same robots behind the Job Simulator. Reallocate your bandwidth and get ready to splash, s'more, snowball, and selfie your way to optimal relaxation. And those are your new releases for the week of June 18th on the PlayStation Store. Which brings us to Trophy Talk. Remember, when we die, we do not get buried in a sarcophagus like old-fashioned mummies, which means we can't take these trophies with us, which means this doesn't fucking matter. So I try to take you from a game from 0 to 100 as fast as possible, and we got a couple. We got a couple. I'm trying to look. God fucking damn it. I'm gonna pull the damn trophies for Leisure Suit Larvo. I think that's really so. Oh, God. We're going to look at Leisure Suit fucking Larry. We're going to pull Refunked, actually. We're going to do Refunked first. Refunked is sitting at 0 bronze, 0 silver, 11 gold, and a platinum, which means, ladies and gentlemen, this sounds like a Ratalika game, which means you can probably get this platinum in about 10 minutes. The trophy lists or descriptions don't make any sense, but there are trophies for finishing Refunct in 4 minutes, 6 minutes, and 8 minutes respectively. Finish Refunct under 33%. Who do you love? Do you do what you love? What makes you smile? What drives those existential trophies? Currently, Refunct is sitting at a 63.58% on PSN profiles and a 30.9% platinum achievement on the PlayStation Network. So Refunct is 100% for sure a Trophy Talk worthy trophy list. Leisure Suit fucking Larry. God damn it. Where is it? What's the count on this bullshit? 18 bronze, 8 silver, 5 gold, and a platinum. Some people have it in Europe, so I'm pulling it right now. Get your first Pi phone. Use the Barbarian Brew leftovers. Does this game even age? Try to find Dick in the darkness. Okay, you know what? We're done here. We're done on Leisure Suit Larry. We're not doing that. One of the trophies descriptions is just called Find Dildo. What the actual goddamn fuck? It's 2019. Time to change your fucking suit, Larry. Get a nice, I don't know, box and just go. Nobody wants you here. All right. I pulled Siberian the Time Traveler because that also screamed kind of Radalican in a way. Not in terms of the trophy count, but it's a 6 bronze, 7 silver, 8 gold, and a platinum. Hit a homeless guy. I hope he's Leisure Suit Larry. Complete a full combo. Get a coin, 20 coins, 40 coins. Buy a heart, buy 3 hearts, buy 5 hearts. Destroy a laser eye. Defeat a bandana enemy. So it's defeating specific enemies, collecting some stuff. Reach the first boss, second boss, third boss. Reach the first boss in hard difficulty. That's it. You don't have to reach the other bosses in hard. You don't even have to defeat the boss in hard. You just got to get there. Defeat the first boss and defeat the second boss. So I think... So if I'm calling it, I'm saying Refunct and I'm saying Siberian are your easy trophies for this week. I don't know when they're out or if they're out, but keep your eyes peeled for those. That brings us to the end of Trophy Talk, which means we have reached another end of the 64th edition of the PlayStation Forecast. Remember, this comes to you each and every Tuesday at youtube.com/pressx2alex and the podcast service of your choosing, except SoundCloud, but we're getting there. And if you want to help it get there just a little bit faster, you can support this show for a minimum $12 a year at patreon.com/pressx2alex for just $1 a month. That's how math works. Now, if you don't want to support the show on Patreon, no big deal. Just go ahead and subscribe to the show on the podcast service of your choice. Follow me on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. Do all the small things, the quantifiable numbers, right? Like that aren't denominational. That's what I'm saying. You know, follow me on Twitter. Do that stuff. Spread the word. Retweet. All those kinds of things to help get more eyes and ears on this goodness, on this buttery baritone-ass voice that I was so delightfully born with, I guess. Old Man River. Anyways, thank you all for joining me each and every week. It means the world to me. I love you all so much. I'm going to get this up. If you watched it live, thank you for joining me. Be sure to follow if you haven't already. Yeah, have a great night. I'm going to go shake the rest of this rust off me. Come back at full strength for next week. I'll see you then. Until next time, I love you. Do the thing.